One, two, three. It's like
Yeah. Hi viewers, welcome to the live talk show on current immigration trends, special focus on parents visa processing with Janetha Kancherla by iWomens.net. The founder of iWomens.net is Anu Doma and my name is Udaya from Maryland. Today I'm going to host the show. The iWomens.net is a cloud-based platform where you can market your product and your events and the competitions also. iWomens.net is doing a lot of charity work for the women. To keep the women physically and mentally strong, they are conducting the free Zumba yoga classes and Zumba classes for the women. Today we have lot of questions about the immigration. So here Miss Janetha Kancherla was the attorney of Virginia. She is the one who is going to clear all of our doubts about the parents in visa and green card processing. Thank you so much, Janetha Kancherla, Miss Janetha Kancherla, ma'am, for giving your valuable time and clearing all of our doubts. Thank you so much for coming, and you are giving the most valuable Sunday to for us instead of your family. Thank you so much for coming, ma'am. Welcome to the show. Can you please introduce by yourself?
Thank you, Udaya, and thank you, iWomens.net. Thank you, Anu, for giving us this wonderful opportunity. I'm Janetha Kancherla, and I practice immigration law here in Virginia, DC area. We have our offices in, Herndon, where our practice is mostly focused on, business immigration and also as well as family immigration.
Yes. Ma'am, this is the live show. Lot of people are having the questions about their parents' green card and visa process. Can you please talk about the current immigration process about the visas for the parents? And please, we have a lot of doubts. Can you please clear for us, ma'am?
No, sure. Actually, when we are with the before, administration, they used to have a lot of executive orders, put everybody on their toes almost, every Friday. So, now after the new administration took in, they're almost, marking, 2 years into. So, the trends in the immigration right now, especially what I practice, the business immigration, we are seeing again, going back to the specialty occupation RFPs, like, when you file your H-1Bs. So they are coming back and asking how a specific person, will fit into the specialty occupation. Like, let's say, the rule is a person should have and then in order to qualify into that specialty occupation. But however, USCIS started interpreting it as specialty occupation, having a bachelor's degree in that specific area. Like, let's say if the employer is filing a H-1B for a Java developer or just a developer, so USCIS is interpreting it as this particular person, where they filed H-1B for a developer, should at least have, a bachelor's degree in a related field, computer science or related. So we are seeing, a lot of RFEs in these area, in the new filings, and then, even in the H-1B extensions as well. So that is one, point that I would like to, bring it to the audience, especially if we have, employers or employees in the audience, making sure that, you are drafting out your petition, taking those kind of precautions, like, where you can avoid. Sometimes, they are coming back and asking, how, as how they fit into specialty occupation. So, sometimes we might need the end client letters and vendor letters as well to explain, what are the requirements and then how this guy fits into that particular position. So that is one thing that we are seeing. The second thing is, especially for the students, we are seeing USCIS coming back and asking, how they are maintaining their given F status, and if they are on CPT, how they are maintaining their given CPT status, just asking to provide all the W-2s or employment letters with the previous employers, and then the agreements between the employer and the university. I mean, all of those things just to make sure that the particular beneficiaries always maintain the given status as that students inside the country. And also um, you know going into a little bit detail, they're asking, how, I mean, part of the maintenance of status, like, let's say some people, are on the CPT and then, full-time CPT, and then, going back to the universities during the week, and they're asking, how you traveled. So those evidences, especially, we are providing their bank statements, and then to show the spending that, they are in that area on that particular days as per, the university requirements that they are meeting. And then, the lease agreements, and then the travel itineraries, all of those things we are trying to, provide. I would say, especially for, F1 students, and then those who are on the CPT, just make sure that, you have all those evidences. Like whenever you travel, please save the itineraries whenever you travel outside the town. I mean, if you are staying in the hotel, make sure you are having all of those, bills, and also spending bills that we can always show through the credit card. But if you have those specific bills that you are spending, that helps us as well to give a detailed evidence what the USCIS is requesting.
Yeah. Sometimes what will happen, ma'am, some students are getting the visa in India. After coming here, they are seeing that they can see that they have a problem with the university. During that time, we can't do any help for them. Some
You want me
universities
to
are
elaborate more, Udaya?
just one line, ma'am. If it is if they have just one, two lines, because a lot of the students are facing this problem. That's why.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Ma'am, are you able to hear me? Hello.
I guess we are having some technical issues.
I can
Maybe
hear
I
you.
can move on to elaborating more on in the meantime when Udaya is trying
Ah,
to go live.
okay. Ma'am, are you able to hear me? Ma'am, are you able to hear me?
Hello.
Yes. Ma'am, the video is not visible.
Hello, Udaya.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, ma'am. Hello. Hello. Yeah. And one more thing, as we have a lot of NRA senior citizens are there, so how can we, not only for the parents and the siblings also, if we want to file the green card, is there any process? Hello? Hello, ma'am. Are you able to hear me? Okay. Hello? 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 Are you able to hear me, ma'am? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, now we can hear, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Hello.
Hello?
Janetha garu, looks like there is some glitch
Hello.
in the Zoom. Can you both get out and get back into the meeting?
Yeah.
Udaya
Okay.
can hear you.
Narsimha garu, now I can hear you both.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good. That's good. We are all set.
Yeah. So, my next question is, because everybody is having the same goal. Whoever is getting the citizenship, they just want to sponsor the green card to their parents, their siblings. They just want to know the documents and what is the process and how many days it will take, and whether they can sponsor their siblings and parents at a time. We have just any information, please let me. We just want to. Everybody wants to know, ma'am.
Yeah, most of the time, what happens is, I mean, as soon as one gets a citizenship, they would like to, sponsor it to the parents so that way, I mean, they can stay with them and then, they can take care of their parents. That's what I hear most of the time. The
Yeah.
main reason behind it is, I mean, as, we have a culture that, we take care of the parents. So they
Yeah.
want to bring them and then, take care of them. As the spouse and the parents fall under the immediate relative categories, there is no wait time for the sponsorship or for the parents to wait. So as soon as one receives their US citizenship, they can go ahead and sponsor the parents. However, I do see sometimes a downside of it, sponsoring the parents, because they are not used to the weather here, they are not used to the kind of environment, I mean, for visiting purposes, they are okay, but I mean, just staying here for long term, most of the time, once they sponsor the parents, I always hear complaints saying that, hey, my mom and dad, don't want to stay for a longer time frame. They want to leave, and it's now 4 or 5 months that we filed for their green card. I mean, they are still waiting for the um, their biometrics, and then can they travel, when can they travel, I mean, let's say once they have the green card, how often they can go out and come back, how long they can stay outside the country. These are the questions that we always hear from our clients. So once you sponsor the green card to your parents, you will be filing. If they are, it's a two different process. If they are inside the country, you do it in a different way. If they are outside the country, you do it in a different way. Let's say, once we will go with, if the parents are outside the country in their home country, and then the son or daughter wants to sponsor the parents, they can go ahead and then um, file for their immigrant petition. As they are outside, you can only file for the first step, and then once the USCIS adjudicates that first step, the I-130 filing, then the whole file gets transferred to the NVC. And from there, the NVC takes it over and then starts communicating with the attorney, petitioner, and the beneficiary of the file. And if there is no attorney, at least with the petitioner and the beneficiary, they'll give you details and the login details to the system, and then you can go ahead, pay the fees first, and then they'll ask you to fill out the forms, and then there are certain civil documents that you need to submit as per their checklist. They have a specific format that you need to go ahead and then fill those out, upload those documents to the NVC portal. And then once you do that one, NVC will just wait for the interview appointment schedules at the consulate. And then, once the appointments are available, they'll go ahead and then, schedule the appointments for the parents. Most of the time, because of the, most of the time, because of this pandemic, we are seeing we are seeing heavy backlogs in scheduling the appointments, especially. So that is one way to go with. And then once the appointment is set up, where you are given very clear instructions stating that, hey, you need to do the medicals, and then they'll give you a list of the doctors that you have to go with the medicals, and those medicals will be directly sent out to the consulate, and then you go attend the interview, and then you'll be, once you are done with the interview, you will be given an envelope, sealed envelope. So you have to carry that into the United States on your first travel into the United States. So that's how it goes if you file the paperwork, if the parent is outside the country. The second one is, let's say if your parents are here inside the country on, visitor visa. So definitely, I would say at least, give some time, 60 days time frame to file the paperwork. And then, you can file both the immigrant petition and also the adjustment of status, because they're technically here inside the United States. So you'll go with both the filings at the same time concurrently. And then once you file it with the USCIS based on where you live, on those with the service centers, they'll send out the receipt notices first. And after the receipt notices, you'll be hearing from them on the biometrics, where the parents will attend the biometrics locally, wherever you are located. Then after the biometrics are done, the next step is having an EAD and advance parole. So based on that, once the EAD is there, most of the parents try to avoid EAD, but there is nothing wrong in going with the EAD and advance parole, so that way you will be given a combo card. So at least you can use that card for travel in and out of the country.
Yes,
And again, they'll be back if they want to leave at this point after the advance parole, they definitely can. And sometimes we see interview waivers for parents of certain age above 65. But some parents, though they are above 65, we witnessed there are some interviews that USCIS wants to clarify some questions directly from the beneficiaries themselves. So, once the interview is done, then, the next step is having their physical green card, getting in the mail.
yeah. And one more question, ma'am. Once some parents, what they will do until the green card comes, they will stay. After that, they will say, "We can't stay here. We just want to go back, and we want to stay in our back in India only." What the kids has to do, because they have to cancel the green card again. They have to apply for the visitors visa. What is the process? And if they cancel the green card for one time, they can apply for one more time, or uh, they can't apply.
They can, but usually what happens is, they won't make a judgment that quick, just canceling the green card immediately as soon as they have. But
Yeah,
however, they have their own challenges, like, if the parents are not really comfortable staying here, because
yeah,
sometimes they feel that, they are lost with their freedom, coming here,
yes,
because however, in their home country, they have their friends, they have that kind of, environment and the support system that they
yeah,
really enjoy. So yes, it depends upon what decision they make. But usually, they don't have to initially cancel it
because
out, because they
yeah,
can come in a given year, maybe 6 months here and 6 months back home. That's how most of the parents
will do that.
do. Yeah, most of the parents do, like staying in their home country for 6 months and then staying here, in the United States for 6 months. But if they really don't want to do, and then, if there is a decision that they have to make, that, hey, we can no longer, stay here on the green card, we really want to stay back home. What I would recommend is, instead of canceling immediately, there is a re-entry permit, a mechanism called re-entry permit. It can be given 2 times, where a person can apply for the re-entry permit, do the biometrics inside the country, and leave. So the advantage of the re-entry permit is, you don't have to really give up your green card. Just try to see how the things are. So most of them go for re-entry permit, request a 2-year time frame, and then do the biometrics and leave the country. They don't have to come till 2-year time frame here, like showing the continuation of the residency. However, they can travel in between, like let's say if they want to come for a few weeks to spend time with the grandkids during the summertime. Though you applied for a re-entry permit, you have a re-entry permit, you still can come, visit, and then, go back. So that at least gives them an opportunity to see, like, at least a 4-year time frame, 2 years at a time. So to see whether, which one works out for them. So after the 2 years, after the 4 full years of, having this re-entry permit, if they decide that, hey, we really don't want to now, we tried both ways. Now we really don't want to, stay inside the United States, then definitely they can hand over the green card, at the consulate whenever they appear for, the visitor's visa again. So, which technically means that they are saying, hey, we really don't want to have a green card. We just want to have a visitor's visa, just, going in and out of the country, visiting our, kids and grandkids. That is an option available. And then, most of the time we don't see any, because based on the parents' age, we don't see any kind of problems, especially when they hand over their green card and then, we just go for the B2s. And sometimes, what they do is after, coming here for a couple times on B2s, like, then if they decide to have a green card again, that can be doable as well. But, I would say, you know, the petitioners who are sponsoring, their parents, need to really, weigh in all the, pros and cons and the situation, have a good conversation with your parents, especially because, it's not about you sponsoring, it's about them staying here, with you, and then, in this specific environment, they have to be okay with it. So, after, having those kind of, initial conversations and making a decision, then I would recommend going forward, because previously, we never, very less cases were like, they want to give up their green cards. But now I think, most of the parents are like, very actively involved in so many things back home. So they really want to continue that. So, that's one of the main reasons, we are seeing, a less, inclining towards, having the green card.
Okay. And what is the process for the sponsoring green card for the siblings?
It's the same way, petitioner, whoever, they can sponsor for the siblings. But however, just keep in mind that if you want to sponsor the siblings, especially if they are from India, there is, 14 to 15 plus years of wait time. So you have to really carefully craft those years into. The reason is, let's say if they have, teen kids, they might age out by the time, they are qualified for the green card. And then, so definitely I would say just don't make a rush judgment, at least talk to one of the immigration attorney, given the ages of, your sibling kids, whether they are really willing to come back. Because even same thing we are witnessing with the siblings as well. Maybe, they just want to have a good opportunities for their kids, coming in and then, having their education in. But, siblings, I guess, are on the similar lines. After getting the green card, we are seeing they're applying for the re-entry permits and then, getting those multiple times. And one thing I would like to point out here, when you are applying for your siblings, the spouse and then kids are also, included in the petition. Let's say if the kids are like, in their, teens. So make sure that, you discuss those pros and cons, because let's say once they complete their, bachelor's degree, if they want to come here for the master's, as these kids are the derivative beneficiaries of these, filings, they might see some hiccups in having those student visas issued. So make sure you have, a good conversation, with your siblings, keeping all of these things in mind. I have many clients where, the petitioners are our clients, and then, they bring in into the phone call their, siblings, to make sure that, they are understanding, what the consequences are. And then, if the kids age out, and then, let's say if they are included as derivative beneficiaries, what are their options, as if if they want to go for F1 visa. These are all the things that you definitely need to discuss with an immigration attorney. So after very well informed uh, with all the information, just make a sound and informed decision on that one. So that way you are not kind of getting stuck in between all of these rules, where um, you will not have the other opportunities or losing other opportunities just because of this petition alone.
So if the siblings are applied for sponsored for the green card means they are not eligible for the H1 and L1, ma'am.
No, they are. H1 and
Oh,
L1 are, a dual intent. Especially, I'm talking about the F category, because
oh,
that's, one should not really have an immigrant intent, if they are applying for F visa, and
ah,
that is in directly contradiction with this, the I-130 filing, that as they are, one of the derivative beneficiaries in there. But of course, there will be no problem, if their company wants to sponsor a H or L, because of course those are you can have a dual intent. They will not have any problems if they want to go for H or L. Specifically, I'm talking about the siblings. If the petition is sponsoring for the siblings, I'm talking about their kids who really want to come here for the education on F visa. But if the kids want to come on H or L, they should not have any problems, because having an I-130 will not really impact those petitions.
yeah. And one more thing for some people, what will happen is the husbands won't, after coming here after some days after marriage, they are sending their wives to the India and they are not sponsoring H4 visas to them. During that time, is there any way to, because lot of women are facing this problem. I know a lot of people, so they don't know the way to contact, to whom they contact, where to contact, how to contact. Is there any way?
Yeah, I mean, we hear day in, day out, I mean, from the communities as well. And then, I mean, some of the community leaders reaching out to us specifically, I mean, asking, what is the scenario, what we need to do. So, one thing I would recommend, especially those who are coming on H4, you know, make, very well informed decisions. Have all the paperwork with you. Like, if you're coming on the H4, you need to have certain documents, like as you're coming into the country as a dependent, having a marriage certificate, having access to your husband's H1B copy, having access to your husband's pay stubs. Because if you when you go for stamping, these are at least the mandatory required documents that you will be submitting with the consulate: a marriage certificate, your husband's H1B copy, and their recent pay stubs, which shows that they are still maintaining the given H1 status. And then once you come into the country, let's say if your spouse has an I-140 approval, if you really want to work, that gives you an opportunity to apply for the EAD. So make sure that you have access to all of these documents, and then save those documents, and then have to really make very well informed decisions. But of course, in certain scenarios, we see
Yeah.
where these women doesn't have access to these kind of documents, or when uh, H1B goes for the extension, employer won't give a copy of that H1B. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Udaya, we see these kind of scenarios where, they are sending the spouses out, and then, they are not really,
Yes.
giving those mandatory required documentation so they can go for stamping. So, I mean, making sure before you leave, make sure you have all those documents, and then maybe it is required, talk to the attorney, because when they are filing the H1B, they can also file H4, and then have a conversation with your spouse employer, hey, this is what it is. So having those conversations, having at least the basic information, like their passport copies, their H1Bs, pay stubs, and I-140, all these things would definitely help you out if you really need to. But there are some instances where I mean, you had to file a lawsuit, and then force the person to give out these documents through rule of law, where you educate as you educate the judge, stating that he needs to give out this documentation. Otherwise, this particular person, who is at least inside the country, if they are not going for H4 extensions, will fall out of status. I see these days, some of the young women, are, kind of bringing, lawsuits, and then asking through the court of law these mandatory documents, so that way they can smoothly transition into a different status, because nowadays women are well educated, they are having their own degrees, of course they are qualified, they want to really go for further education, to do any of these things, in being inside the country, they definitely need some of the documentation. So they had to make sure, first thing is having those for having access to those documents. If not, make sure that you are getting those in a legal manner.
Yeah, okay. So what happens now once they are in India means it's very hard for them to contact the officials here. So that's why I asked the question, ma'am. I
Yeah,
know
that's
you ladies. That's why once they are in India means it's totally different. They're there and here, so they don't know where to go, to whom they have to contact. That's the main
yeah,
problem. Yes,
yeah.
and one more thing, financially also it's very hard for them to afford the attorney here and to go through each and every step. So is
That's
there
true.
any way? Yeah.
The way would be, let's say, if you are having some kind of troubles between you and your partner, like, you are outside the country, till there is a final decree of divorce that is granted by court, whether it is from the United States or from in India, you are still considered as, a spouse. So you
Oh,
are having all the, you're having that kind of, eligibility to,
oh,
apply for a visa, because there is no final divorce yet. So you can still appear, having access to these documents will make you eligible to appear at the consulate for the visa, and then come here and then sort those things out. So that's what I would recommend. But again, as you said, yes, there is a financial component added to it as well. So
oh,
it all depends upon each case to case. They
yeah.
definitely need to uh, you know rely on somebody's professional advice to make that kind of decisions. I think all over the community, especially there are a lot of attorneys who pitch in services like me. Sometimes if they cannot afford, we do definitely free consultations as well if they cannot afford. So in these scenarios, but there is at times nothing much that as an attorney we can do if you don't have access to basic simple documentation. So what I would recommend, most of the women out there, just make sure that having the access to those basic documentation will save you.
This is the best, most important information for the women. A lot of women are facing this problem. They don't know, but this is very useful information for them. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're
And
welcome, Udaya.
yeah, and is there and one more thing, lot of our viewers will just want to contact with you. Uh,
Mhm.
is there any contact and any website, any contact details? Can you please share, ma'am, so the viewers can contact with you?
Yeah. They can just go online and then do janethalaw.com. That's our website. And then our phone number is 703-880-6409. And then we have our email IDs, which is Janetha, Janetha at janethalaw.com. And they can also send emails to legal at janethalaw.com. So the best way is, searching us up on, the internet, janetha law.com. So you can go ahead and find our phone numbers and email IDs there.
Okay. So if anyone wants to contact, they can contact through you, the mail and the phone number, the whatever you provided, ma'am, so they can contact with you. And
Yes, they
what
can call us, and then they can schedule an appointments. Our paralegal will help, and then sometimes we know in some scenarios where women cannot afford, going through certain, financial hardships and all. Definitely, we do consider, those kind of scenarios, and then give out, free advices at times.
Mhm. And one more thing, and the parents who are coming from green card, they just want to convert into, they just want to move to citizenship. Is there any way to the local language, just like in stamping, we have the local language they will provide. Here, is there any possibility for the means most of the parents doesn't know the English. They just want either Telugu, Tamil, like that. Is there any that facilities available in this country, ma'am?
Unfortunately, if you really want to become a citizen, I don't think there are any other exemptions except, there are certain medical exemptions where, I mean, you had to get a letter from the doctor saying that, these are the disabilities that they have, which we are successfully able to, I mean, file and assist those kind of clients. The other exemptions are, I mean, if you are over 50 or 55 years and then, staying as a green card holder inside the country for 20 years, there are certain exemptions. But other than these, I don't think there are any real exemptions, for the English language. If we really want to, I mean, go through the citizenship, most of the time, I mean, as soon as they complete their, 5 full year on the permanent residency, they want to go ahead for the citizenship. In that scenarios, I guess, that, being 50 or 55 and then, having 20 years inside the country will not, be an exemption. However, as I said, medical exemptions are there, but, it's not applicable to everybody. So, I mean, I think definitely one need to talk to the doctor and then their immigration attorney as well, whether, those kind of disabilities will fall under those medical exemptions.
And one more thing, ma'am, the parents who are green card holders after sponsoring once they get the green card, they're all means just like a senior citizens. What are the benefits here? The senior citizens are getting they will get all those benefits, just like a Medicare and all.
I think once they are a citizen, they can, go for those kind of benefits. But however, I'm not really aware if they are a green card holder, they can, claim those kind of benefits because, the difference between two, one is, a permanent residency, the other one is a citizen. So once they become the citizen, they have more, benefits.
And and one more thing, ma'am, those are the parents after the divorce. Some of the parents went back to the what do you say that uh, with the one kid. There is a question from the audience. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
child custody. Okay, after the
Mm-hmm.
divorce, the child is with the mother only in India. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
father is here, but uh, what are the rights she's having as a H4 lady?
See, there are two laws involving in when you're talking about the child custody. It always depends upon the state where you are having the jurisdiction, like where you are physically staying, and then that in the immigration law also goes hand in hand. So if there is a joint custody given, or if there is a sole custody given, it always depends upon that. But however, I mean, if there is a sole custody to one of the parent, there is a definite reason why the sole custody was given to one parent, and there might be certain situations why other parent is not having the custody. So they have to really definitely follow those rules in the judgment. Like, let's say if there is a joint custody and then the child is physically staying with mom and who is outside the country, they have to sort out those things in conjunction with the local family rule, I would say. This is not the immigration rule alone.
Okay, so the kid can stay with the mom.
No, I'm
They
not commenting on that one because, it
okay.
definitely, there are two things here. So we have to separate how, because I practice immigration law, and I don't deal with the family law at all. So I would recommend the gentleman to, I mean, go through the, whatever the outcome of the judgment was, and then how it can be enforced if there is a joint custody that was given to both the parents, and why the kid is only staying with the mom. So he needs to take it to the court and then enforce it in that manner, and that falls under the family rule. So I cannot comment because not really sure which
Yes.
state they are in.
Yeah. And one more question. She is the one who is asking how the child custody works in general, and how about the finances?
That is also depending upon state rules. It's not related to immigration, because we are completely talking about the immigration law
Oh.
here today, because I practice immigration. But
Mm-hmm.
however, if one really wants to know how the child custody versus the finances and all of these things work, definitely those are binding by those state specific rules. So each state rule is different based on what the outcome of the earlier decision is, or if they are going through based on the facts that were presented to the court. So there is no one straight answer to this one. So definitely depending upon the based on the facts that we need to give out. But as I said, I'm not going to talk on those lines because I'm not familiar with that state specific family rule.
Okay. Yeah. And one more thing, ma'am, if the students having any immigration means just initially I asked if the universities are blacklisted,
Mhm.
during the stamping they don't know. Once we come back there, they will know that it's. Is there any other way to know what means for during the time of immigration? Means not only the immigration after coming here, they can change the university and all.
Definitely they can, but one good advice I can give to students are just try to make very informed decisions, because these days you have a lot of information available on the web.
Yeah.
Just researching about the university, and then making that kind of research, making those due diligence decisions. So you have access to everything, just making sure that whether certain universities are good or bad, how I can apply. And then if you are coming into the country on one of the universities, F1, as an F1 student, of course you definitely will have, let's say if they come to university A and then want to move to university B, maybe based on the kind of program that they have, or maybe it's more with their interest, then they can definitely do so. But there is a procedure that they need to follow. So making sure that they are informing the current university, or reaching out to the other university, getting an I-20, and then if they already did some credits, whether those credits are given any weightage in the other university. So make sure you are having that kind of conversation with the school DSO before transferring, because not to really have any gaps in between and not falling out of status. So have actively involved in having those conversations with the school DSOs, with the prospective school, and with your current school.
Okay. And one more audience, Ramesh, he is having a question. How long it would take for processing GC for my mom? Now she is living in India. If she is living in India, or is there any changes make her that it will take how much time if she is in India or if she is in US?
If they are in the US, as we discussed, initially,
Yeah.
these are two different steps and processes. The timelines are totally different for these. If a person is inside the United States, definitely the time period, if we look into, it's the lesser time, because maybe I would say 8+ months to have the actual green card in hand, because they are doing the immigrant petition and adjustment inside the country. But however, if they are outside the country, in their home country, and then if you are petitioning for your mom, that might take a longer time frame, because the first step needs to be cleared and then goes to the NVC. These days, having those appointments available at the consulates is becoming a very a challenging task, because after during the pandemic, the caseload really got increased into different folds, especially with the NVC. So we are seeing a year and a half delays in getting the interviews, at the consulate. So I would definitely recommend filing inside the country rather than doing it outside, unless and until one really wants to have that kind of procedure. Let it take its own course. But definitely doing inside the country is a faster process.
Okay, if they are here, if you start the green card, then it will be easy and it will go fast.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And um, um, if the kids are, if they, and one more question. I know one lady who went back to India because of the divorce. Her kid is now 10 years old. When the kid, is the kid is the citizen of US, and because
Hmm.
of divorce, they are in India. Can
Hmm.
see at what age the kid can sponsor the green card for the mom
After 21. Once
after
the kid
20?
becomes 21, yes, the kid can sponsor the mom.
Oh, after 21 only the kid can sponsor the green card. Oh,
That's correct.
yes. So initially, so he's right now he's only eligible for the H4 only, the
But
mother.
he's a citizen, so he don't have to be falling under the H4. So he's a citizen. He
No,
can
no,
come
I'm just
back to
asking
the.
about the wife. I'm just asking
Uh,
about. Yeah.
yeah, for the wife, H4 is one opportunity. But however, as you said, if they are
Mm.
divorced, that's not a question at all, because once the official separation happens, she's not even eligible for the divorce at all. For the H4 at all, based on the divorce. So there are other alternative options. Maybe coming into the country on F1, or coming into the country on kind of work visas like H or L. They can look into a different opportunities.
Okay. If the mom wants to come inside the country, means she's not eligible for H4. She can come through F1 or some other visa.
Yeah, because once the divorce is official, and then the it happens through the legal system, then she's no
Oh,
longer the spouse, right? So that's how
yeah.
she's not even qualified for the H4.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. A lot of questions we are having. You gave your valuable Sunday time, especially the personal time. We can say it's a holiday for everyone, but you gave the good time for us, and you cleared lot of doubts about the parents' green card, spouses, and especially for women, those who are facing the problem with the H4 who was not sponsoring. And we are so happy, ma'am, with the way you supported the women and the immigration issues and all. We are so happy. And at the same time, we just want to know, ma'am, about your education in India and how you are became moved to here. And we just want to know, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Udaya, and then especially the iWomen's for giving us this wonderful opportunity. This platform, at least we can contribute through our services to the community. So iWomen's is really doing a good job. Reaching out to the community and doing these kind of sessions. At least it's helpful. To the community. And for your question, yeah, I got married. Then I came into the country. Then I moved on to the F1 visa, where I studied my master's in law, and then I did my New York bar, and then that's how I started my practice inside the country.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am, sharing with us, and it was nice to talk with you. Thank you so much for once again, and thank you so much for ihumans.com also and the sponsors also. It was nice to talk with you, ma'am. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, Udaya. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.